Marquette County Board meeting Commissioners, regular meeting to order, May 6, 6 p.m. And I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Evan, would you be kind enough to start the Pledge of Allegiance for us, Mr. Reister?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was fast.
Thank you, Evan, for leading us in the pledge. By the way, Evan is the UP aide for Representative Carl Bonek. And who else do we have that's I see with usually point Lynn Durant, is the Honorable Lynn Durant here in the back. Pleasure to have you as well. And I see former Representative 109. Good to see you, Jen. So we need a motion to approve tonight's agenda. There is one late addition from the Vice Chair. We'll call that Board of Commissioners Salary Compensation 11A. So is there a motion to approve the agenda with one late addition?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Elholm.
Support.
Support by Vice Chair Nardine. Questions or comments on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda. So we missed roll call. Linda, would you jump in on roll call, please?
Commissioner DePietro?
Commissioner DePietro is out. Please excuse him. He's not well today.
Commissioner Adamini?
Here.
Commissioner Lalonde?
Here.
Commissioner Nordine?
Here.
Commissioner Alpol?
Here.
And Chairperson DeWitt?
Here. Approval of the minutes from the following meeting, regular meeting held on April 15th, 2025. Your pleasure.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Lalonde. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Elholm. Any further questions or comments on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes approved. Proclamations, presentations, and awards. I believe Bill has.
I do. I don't see Jen Hands here, though, do I?
She is not.
Okay. Marquette County Board of Commissioners resolution honoring Jennifer Hands on her retirement. Whereas government has an obligation to provide its citizens with services of the highest quality, and whereas quality services can only be provided by employees of the highest caliber, and whereas Jennifer Hands began her career with the County of Marquette on February 7th, 2000 as a part-time in the Register of Deeds office, accepting a full-time position in July of 2001. In October of 2001, Jennifer transferred to the Resource Management and Development Department, where she worked for many years before being awarded a position as utility billing clerk at Sawyer in 2014. Jennifer has remained an integral part of the Sawyer Service Center team ever since. And whereas Jennifer has been recognized by co-workers and supervisors as going above and beyond the call of duty and being a caring co-worker, and has been an asset to the county in all of her roles. And therefore be it resolved that Marquette County recognizes and thanks Jennifer for her 25 years of service to the county citizens. Her friendliness and quick wit will be missed by her many friends and colleagues, and the county wishes Jennifer and her husband Dave the very best of retirement. Proclaimed the 6th day of May, 2025, Joseph DeRocha, Marquette County Board Chairperson.
Thank you, Bill. Wishing her and her husband a wonderful retirement.
She will be missed. She's an outstanding employee. Okay.
Moving on, public comment. So the first public comment period is for 5 minutes per person. Public comment. So we just ask that you state your name and address, and you have the floor.
My name is Colleen Clark. Address is 426 East Hewitt in Marquette. I'm here tonight to address Border Patrol / ICE and our community. Changes in federal immigration policy can influence how city and/or county governments approach immigration policing issues. As this new administration has been enacting much more stringent and in many cases unlawful practices, I'm here tonight to speak of the increase in Customs and Border Patrol, I might just say CBP going forward after this, activity and presence in the UP, the fact that it appears in other areas of the country that CBP is increasingly being deployed as an arm of ICE, and my hope that we as a community can prepare to be proactive rather than reactive with some of the situations, if there's any situations like what's going on in other parts of the country. So far, in Marquette, we haven't seen any instances in the city limits of Border Patrol issues, or activity, I should say. In Marquette County, there has been a request at one of the schools for information on families and students. There's been information requests at a city office in Marquette County with regard to employment and hiring, paperwork and issues. So even though we haven't really seen anything in the city of Marquette, we do have doctors, medical staff, as well as students and faculty at Northern that are here on visas, and so it's something that we want to keep top of mind. There is information that one faculty member and one student at Northern's, their visas have become uncertain, let's say, without really any known reasons why. There's also been there were also 2 instances in the western UP where 4 persons were removed from a lumberyard and 2 from a farm, as well as some mistaken identity situations up in the Keweenaw in the Native and First People communities. So with that in mind, these types of events can have significant impacts on local communities. For example, emotional and economic issues, as well as the fear and possibility of families being separated. My hope is that by beginning to discuss these situations now, when they feel like they're happening elsewhere, that our city and our county governments can determine their position and prepare plans as to how they can and want to behave in the event that we do have any of these situations arrive in our community. Additionally, I hope that we as a community will commit to not becoming willing collaborators in the denial of the due process rights of our citizens, nor open our city or county to legal actions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Public comment. Public comment, feel free.
My name is Virginia Killo. I live at 1710 Harborview Drive in Marquette. I'm here to speak to you, tell you a personal story about the potential impact of the proposed Medicaid cuts. I'm speaking to you tonight about concerns for my son, Alexander. Al is a 34-year-old man who has very involved autism. He has lived in his own home with the necessary support staff since he was 18 years old. He has been on a Medicaid waiver since childhood. The waiver is administered through Pathways Community Mental Health. The waiver pays for his support staff and team of providers to address his needs. He has been able to be active in the community and have a good life despite his autism. Al's only income is through Social Security disability. This income barely covers his rent, food, medicine, and other necessities. Currently, both Medicaid and Social Security are threatened, all to benefit the unelected billionaires in this country. If these benefits are disrupted, there is no alternative way for Al to live. He needs specially trained staff, and he needs his own space in his own home. I had to look for other options for Al when COVID disrupted his life and staffing became so difficult. so I know what's not available. It would not be viable for Al to live in adult foster care because of his sensory issues, but there are no available beds anywhere in Michigan anyway. There are also no hospital beds available. When Al needed to be hospitalized 14 months ago, there were no beds in the state. Al had to be sent to a horrible hospital in Indiana. The state psychiatric hospitals in Michigan are over capacity, would not be appropriate for someone like Al in any case, and also they do not admit people with developmental disabilities. There is literally no place for Al to go, no way for him to live. Al is not the only one in this situation by any means. In fact, there are many, many in our community and state whose lives will be devastated by these cuts. But he is mine. I have fought and struggled all his life to obtain and preserve the supports and the services that he needs and is entitled to. The axe is hanging over our heads, and I can't see a future. I want you, our community leaders, to know Al's story and to have a face for this desperation. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment. Yes, sir, you have the floor.
Hello, my name is Graham. I live at 338 Stratford in Gwyn.
Your name again?
Graham Vink.
Graham Fink?
I come to you today as a resident of Marquette County and K.I. Sawyer. I have concerns regarding our current federal administration and their track record regarding immigration and higher education institutions and their disregard of court orders they disagree with that cover these topics. As a county with a larger population of First and Native peoples, a demographic that has both recently and historically had incidents of incorrect profiling by Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as many young college students who may not know their rights, I'm concerned that we make sure that proper due process and judicial review are followed. While I know this commission cannot affect federal policy, I encourage everyone within our local government to remember to verify the legality of actions asked of them regarding CBP and/or ICE before complying. Enshrined in the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution is the right to the due process of law. The Supreme Court, over many different makeups and dozens of examples of previous rulings, has made it clear that this right is protected. Due process is how guilt or non-guilt is determined, and all residents of the United States, regardless of their legality or citizenship status, are entitled to that process. Aiding in the denial of that right, of a citizen or otherwise, can cause serious legal liability. Secondly, as a resident of K.I. Sawyer, this is a separate topic, I should clarify. As a resident of K.I. Sawyer, our roads on base are muddled with potholes and overfilled bumps that cause cars to rattle and shake like children's toys. These potholes, especially from this last winter, are a step beyond refilling, especially in a half-tamped and overfilled state. This last measure is what I saw the road commission performing for Stratford, Voodoo, Panther, and Scorpion last week. As students from all over Gwyn use these above listed roads to get to and from K.I. Sawyer Elementary every week, it makes sense to spend the time and money to resurface these roads properly. As more families are considering K.I. Sawyer as a rising choice for housing and a stricter budget, attracting more people to our community means putting in the work to update the local amenities. Please do not just rush another pass job for, as I have heard other people call our community, the poor community. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment.
Hello, I'm nervous speaking, so I'll just try to be quick.
Take your time. Take your
Okay,
time.
my name is Patricia Slaughterback. I live at 425 East Crescent Street, Marquette, Michigan. I am not really fully aware of all the things that you have power and control over, or, you know, how much you can influence. But I do appreciate what you do. I know that it's considerable, even though I don't know what it is exactly. Sorry. you probably didn't know what I did as a special care nursery nurse either. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about Medicare and Medicaid. I do have some personal things to say, and again, I don't know what you can do to influence any of this, knowing that it's federal disposition that these things fall under. But if I was going to talk about Medicare, I'm retired. I planned my retirement, according to my financial advisor, that I can include Medicare in my income. So that's all factored into what income I have. As my neighbors, as my friends, same thing. I would like it if there was anything that you guys could do to support no cuts to that. But I'm way better off than a lot of folks, as I know that. And I want to talk next about Medicaid. I'm also hoping that services stay intact for many things. For the nursing homes, I mean, what are we going to do with all those folks if they can't stay there? That's not a decision that I would like to work on. I mean, I just don't want, I've worked in nursing homes and I know how much they depend on community donations and supports but the money to supply the electricity, the nurses, to everything. And in particular, I'm concerned about Trillium House. I sat and talked with the administrator at Trillium House last Friday when I was there. I sing for the residents in a group called, what are we called? Sail on Singers. Okay, so every other Friday we go. And she made mention about how the unstable, the insecurity of Medicare reimbursements and financial portfolios diminishing. She mentioned that Trillium is actually supported a lot by the community. There are individuals that have been staunch in donating, and she's expecting that will all go down now, knowing that there's so much uncertainty about people's incomes. So I'm concerned about the homeless. I also worked on the psychiatric unit, and I think that whatever we can do to have a better solution for the homeless people would be certainly better for all of us. I mean, none of us like to see people hanging out at the warming center, and many times I've worked in my church, staying up all night, womaning a shift, and just so that they could have a meal and they could have a safe place to spend the evening and the night. Okay, churches don't do that much anymore. The warming house has come to play in that, but they're important. I also, as I worked on the psychiatric unit, I do know that hospitalizations for people are, in particular, people like people that have substance abuse problems. We don't treat them with any length of time anymore. That probably will never change.
Patricia, if you'd wrap up, you have about 20 seconds left.
Okay, I'm happy to wrap up.
No problem.
Yes. But thank you for whatever you can do in whatever capacity. And I look to you guys with expecting integrity. And I'll be looking. And thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment.
Hello there, I'm Rich Helgren.
Good to see you, Rich.
Of 155 North Basin Drive in Negaunee, steelworker, and I'm here to talk about the support for the amendments to the energy bills that we are coming up. and to talk maybe a little bit about how that's gonna affect us in the future. This House Bill 4007 talks in House Bill 4283 allows the coal replacement engines to run out their life of 2049, I believe, and by the time it's all said and done. And to my understanding, you guys are in support of, came on support of these bills about the carve out for these two coal replacement engines, from my understanding, or the other ones in the UP here. We need to really look at this. It's important for us here in the UP in Marquette County, because I tell you what, without getting too down about it, I have a chart here from Umeric, how much it's gonna cost us per month as an individual if everybody pays their fair share. This is a Marquette County killer. This is an Upper Peninsula killer. So if we could get that carve out, that would be great. And hopefully in the future, if it comes to rise, that we can get maybe put on the ballot to repeal this law. That at least we're not against energy, green energy, but let's have a plan in place before we shoot our foot off. You know, it's kind of fair. I'm getting ready to retire, okay? And I'm looking at my fixed income, and I'm looking at the rate paying as all citizens sitting in this room are gonna have to pay. And I'm here to tell you right now, it's scary. And the most of your public, they don't have a clue what they were given with the passing of this law. So we really need to work, if we can, if something comes to the commission, I would hope that we could maybe get some support to get things together to save the UP and the industrialization. Because this is a deindustrialization of the UP, this is a UP business killer. You know, our friends and folks that have small businesses here, they're not gonna be able to afford that. We're not gonna be able to afford that. And that's gonna affect our commissions, it's gonna affect our schools, it's gonna affect our laws, enforcement here, it's gonna affect our prisons, it's gonna affect everything, because where's the money gonna come from? There's only one small pot of money. So, well, we can always print more. I would imagine we've been doing pretty good for the last so many years, but. With that being said, I just wanted to thank you guys for the support of that said bills and the continued support of, you know, the mining in the UP. And, you know, this is a huge economy that this company provides our economy with money. And it's not just the company, it's the people who get paid that buy things in our community. So I think that should wrap it up. But I thank you again for your support on this. And if anything comes to light, I'll be sure to be back here next month.
Rich, thank you for your public comment. We don't usually get into a answer at this point, but I'm sure that we'll have some commissioners' comments towards the end on that specific topic. So
I could provide. You guys probably have the same stuff I have.
So, thank you for your public comment. And public comment. Who's next?
Good evening, James Harrington, 1305 Pioneer Road in Marquette. Commissioners, I'm here this evening in my capacity as a non-union, non-represented employee with the district court. I am speaking on behalf of myself and two of my fellow magistrates. Quite some time ago, we used the mechanism that's outlined in the employee handbook, policy 109.3 in regards to non-union grievance procedure. We submitted a grievance and made it to step 4, in which by my math, we should have received a written response from the board at approximately, I think, March 20th. We have not to date gotten a written response, and that's what I'm looking for this evening. I'm hoping for a quick and positive resolution to our grievance. I'm not far away. You know where to find me if you have any questions or need to discuss it further, would like to meet. I'd be happy to meet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. James, thank you for your public comment.
Jeff Trady, 488 Mangum Road. I'm the
Chet?
chair.
Chet?
Jeff.
Jeff, sorry.
F.F. Trady, 488 Mangum Road. I'm the chair of the Marquette County Conservation District. We actually just wrapped up our annual tree sale last week at the farm and, provided thousands of trees to over 380 individuals. But I had the opportunity, our office is co-located with NRCS here in the county, right over on Commerce Drive, kitty corner across the street from the Marquette Township Fire Hall. And I just wanted to bring to your attention, as the federal government has been raining, I would use the word tyranny on its employees. I had the opportunity to speak to them, some of the NRCS individuals. They have historically had a staff of 12 and now they are down to 7. Unfortunately, they feel like the reduction in staff is going to continue. We on our staff have an individual who is paid through federal funds to do invasive species work. She feels like her position also would be terminated by the end of the fiscal year. So I just wanted to make it known that NOAA's office is here, the Fish and Wildlife office is in Marquette County. There's an IRS office and the Social Security, and this is real, and individuals' jobs are being affected for essentially continuing the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act while increasing the military defense funds and border security. So I'm just here to make that known for this small office that's out of the USDA that provides funds to farmers and foresters in our county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your public comment, Jeff. Public comment. Public comment. Take your time.
Hello, I am Sarah Green. I'm from Calumet Township. And I've come all this way, so I thought I should say something. Because I've been speaking to various groups around, mostly Houghton County to date. Thank you for your attention and for your efforts to improve the lives of Upper Peninsula residents in such a big region with a low population. We all benefit from the success of our neighboring communities. I love visiting Marquette and your beautiful lakeshore, and we aspire to have also a beautiful lakeshore in Houghton soon. But I'm here and following some of your other local speakers here to address a threat to our democratic institutions. As Americans, whatever our political leanings, we have an intense loathing of tyranny. Although we may have honest disagreements, I'm certain that nobody here voted for Elon Musk. I come really for two primary reasons. First, because actions at the federal level have direct consequences for Upper Peninsula residents whom you represent. And second, because you're a local face of democracy and you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. Today, the checks and balances embedded in our Constitution are under attack. First, the President is claiming power to overturn the wishes of Congress by freezing funds that have already been approved. Funding freeze aimed to block thousands of programs across the country, from Meals on Wheels to cancer research. Billions of dollars in federal funding flows to counties and townships, often through state programs, including infrastructure programs, school lunch programs, and health insurance. Some 30% of the state budget comes from federal sources. These are your taxes and mine that Congress is sending back to support citizens and programs for our benefit here in the UP. The President does not have the right to block these appropriated funds. Meanwhile, as has been mentioned, the proposed federal budget that's under discussion now in Washington adds drastic cuts to programs that we depend on. Second, a private citizen and his unvetted associates have gained access to the Social Security system, the IRS, and Treasury, exposing your Social Security data, tax information, and personal data. There is no provision under any of the three branches of government for a private businessman to have access to the nation's checkbook. Elon Musk not only has billions of dollars in contracts with the government through his various companies, but also has undisclosed relations with Russia, China, and other U.S. adversaries. Elon Musk and the proposed budget is further threatening the more than 9,000 federal workers who are employed in Michigan's 1st Congressional District. An unknown number of local people have already been illegally fired, or some have been fired and reinstated and maybe fired again under the proposed budget. The VA system is already being disrupted because 2,400 people have already been fired, and there are plans to cut 83,000 employees from the system. As you know, some 22,000 veterans in the UP rely on these services. These are your friends and neighbors who are being fired, and they work for us, the American people, not for Elon Musk. These actions are, of course, being challenged in the courts. Some have been blocked, some are being brought up again or under appeal. And the fourth point is just a short one, is we've all seen this roller coaster of tariffs that are going on, and those are a profound threat to local businesses, mainly because very large businesses can buy their way out of these or bribe public officials to get exceptions at the federal level, but small businesses cannot do that. These actions collectively, and many more in the chaos at the federal level, have profound local implications. Undermining the Constitution reverberates to all levels of government. If justice is decided on the rule of law, if justice and the rule of law are decided based on political patronage and friends in high places, laws become irrelevant. If private sector billionaires can decide how and where government money is spent, Congress becomes irrelevant, and so do you. My right to petition the government for redress of grievances has no meaning if the government is beholden to private interests. So in following the previous speakers, I'd like to ask you to tell our officials in Washington and Lansing that UPers want to be governed according to the checks and balances inscribed in the Constitution and not by a king. I urge you to put any political differences aside and work together to address this constitutional threat. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment.
I'm Andrew Dalian, 503 Craig here in Marquette. And I'm concerned about the federal cuts and how they are going to impact our county. I'm going to relate to that through a personal story. So several weeks ago, there was a huge ice storm down at the tip of the mitt. And I have a buddy in Petoskey who I've known for decades. And I'm talking to him on the cell phone. He doesn't have power. Through the entire 24 hours after not having power, every 40 minutes, he was running down to his basement, bringing up 3 5-gallon buckets to empty a sump pump so that his basement doesn't get destroyed. And he was able to do that for that 24-hour period, but he was losing the battle. So he had to go buy a several $1,000 generator, which he was lucky enough to get into a Lowe's to find. If the timing had not worked out, he might have lost his basement. And that took 5 days before he saw that power return. Now, I'm concerned about Marquette because when there's disasters like that, if there are federal cuts to FEMA, we're in trouble because now you and I have to come up with the funds to save our people and save our resources. And I don't think the county has that kind of deep pocket. I know I don't. So, and I can tell you, because I was going downstate a few days after that storm, I saw branches that were the width of this pen, yet they had that much ice around them. And I kid you not, I can show you pictures. So what happened is trees were just stripped of all their limbs, and if you look, there's 3 million acres of DNR and Michigan land that the trees are just toothpicks. There's tons of brush that's down on the ground, dry fuel. And if you think about the talk on wildfires in Scandia that just happened about 2 weeks ago, if that happens here, the area on 553 between here and Gwynn is a tinderbox. It's already jack pine that can go up. And those federal budget contributions represent 18% of the DNR's budget. They have to fight the fires with that. if there's not the funds to fight the fires, what's gonna happen to all those homes, to the county fairground, to the folks that have horses and wild and other animals, to the dog shelter, the pet shelter? That's all gonna be impacted by these federal cuts. It's gonna impact us. So I'm gonna ask that you do all you can, and then go extra to do more to stop these cuts, because if we don't, we're going to bury ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment.
Good evening. Lynn Durant. I live at 265 Bishop Woods Road in Marquette Township. Two quick things. I'll only take a couple minutes. I'm hoping when you have the last action item on your agenda about the medical examiner, I'm wondering what the alternative's going to be. So I'm hoping there's going to be some discussion for alternatives. But I have a very quick report from, and I have a budget breakdown topic to Linda, from the Central UP Materials Management Planning Committee meeting that met on April 17th. When I was considering asking to be on this committee, I asked myself, as people who have been elected to manage our communities, why would we take perfectly good land that could be used to build homes, recreate, or bring businesses and bury trash in it? It's such a waste of good resources. This is why I feel it's important to continue to have the dialogue of management, recycling, and repurposing. The committee met in Escanaba. We've pretty much been doing that. Because of at least one snowstorm, we didn't get a chance to really dig into what the 6-county consortium of materials management is trying to accomplish. So I'm told that our next meeting is really going to dig into that. We've been doing a lot of what the state requires to put this into place. There's 24 of us, I believe, on that committee. Two quick statistics. Nationally, 4.9 pounds per person are put in the trash in a day. 4.9 pounds per person. In the Central UP, it's 4.56. In Michigan, it's 7 to 8. So you can kind of see why the governor is kind of jumping on the bandwagon and saying we need to start paying attention to what we're putting in the landfills. In 2024, Marquette County disposed of or generated 37,000 tons of trash last year. That's 74.5 million pounds of trash that went into the landfill. Since I've been on the township board, I've heard repeatedly that the landfill has 50 years left of space to be able to continue to put things in there. Facility itself, the landfill itself figures they have 57 years, and Eagle is figuring 47. So that's a pretty good amount of time. I'm not going to be here. Some of you might not be here. But if we don't plan on it now, it's going to be a whole lot sooner than that. We also heard in a report from Tracy Tomaszewski from Eagle. She's a recycling specialist there. And I just, other than lots of statistics, roughly 1/3, if you take a trash bag, 20 years ago that people threw things away, about 1/3 of that would be, I don't want to say usable, recyclable, repurposed. Okay, so 1/3 of what we used to throw away could have not gone into the landfill. Another 1/3 of that trash bag that would have been dumped might have been yard clippings and waste. So that could have been taken out. So basically just 1/3 of what's in that trash bag 20 years ago, before we really started talking about recycling, would all be all that would have to go into that landfill. And there's more statistics, you don't need to know about that. The committee has also created a survey that they're going to review, we'll review next meeting, which is going to be May 29th. And it'll be sent out, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be on like a state website or the county website or how they're going to mail it or whatever. We haven't gotten that far.
It's designed to be looked at by the general public and answered elected officials, businesses, organizations, everybody. They want input on what we deal with, how we deal with our waste. So I'll let you know next month on if we come up with that. So while all of our previous meetings have been pretty much clerical, this next few months is when we're gonna, actually the 6 counties are gonna start working on what our promises are to try to fix some of this. We'll get the nuts and bolts of who needs what and who has what. And our next meeting is gonna be May 29th, it's a Thursday at 1 o'clock. It's an open meeting. We're meeting at the landfill this time because they wanna see how the MRF operates, and that's, or the, let's see, materials, repurposing facility, something like that. Sorry, I'm terrible with acronyms, but anybody's welcome to come. Hopefully all 24 of us will be there. And then from there, we're going to Partridge Creek Compost in Ishpeming, and we're gonna see what they're doing because they've expanded their resources into the townships. I just got my bucket, I bought my bucket the other day, put out every couple weeks with my waste. So we are making a difference in continuing the length of that landfill, but we can't quit. We have to keep going.
Lynn, thank you for your commitment on that board, and thank you for your public comment.
Appreciate it.
Thank you again. Public comment. Public comment. Any further public comment? It's electronic? You, who are we speaking?
Louis Valance.
Louis, you have the floor. Go ahead, please.
Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm coming to you today from 6890 Straw Lane in Sheboygan, Michigan. I'm a troll. Anyway, I am coming to you today in regards to bringing Amtrak to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The state of Wisconsin is going to expand the Hiawatha train out of Chicago through Milwaukee into Green Bay. So I am asking the Upper Peninsula counties to support a resolution, each county, to bring Amtrak service into the Upper Peninsula. The route would go up into Escanaba, branch north through Marquette into Calumet, branch east into St. Agnes and Sault Ste. Marie, and branch west into Duluth, Minnesota, basically mirroring the bus route that Indian Trails has established, and the old Sioux Line rail lines. So what I'm asking the Marquette County Board of Commissioners to do is pass a resolution, just a basic resolution right now, to support bringing Amtrak to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I have Chippewa County going to be voting on that in the next week. I just talked with Delta County. They are in the process of getting a resolution done that I just shipped to them. So I would like to get the support of Marquette County, the City of Marquette, the Northern Michigan University community, and surrounding cities in Marquette County to support this bringing Amtrak to the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. That's pretty much what it.
Thank you, Louis. This is public comment. It's not a question and answer. But what I will share is, I think you're best served to run something like this through UPCAP, where all 15 counties can get a resolution sent to them through the UPCAP, if that's the avenue you'd like to consider. So again, thank you for your public comment, and good luck in your efforts. Public.
Enjoyed the. I've always enjoyed coming up to Marquette to visit my grandfather, DJ Jacobetti.
Yeah, Everyone knew him well.
Oh, yeah.
Public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Public comment? Any further public comment? Any electronic comments? Yeah, no? Public comment, one more time. Hearing no further public comment, we'll close the first public comment period and move on to review of claims and accounts. Total expenditures paid via check and EFT transferred for the period of April 11th, 2025 through May 1st, 2025 were $1,589,623.40. The biweekly payroll for the period ending April 12th, 2025 was $875,506.10. And the biweekly payroll for the period ending April 26th, 2025 was $946,091.12. Board, your pleasure.
I move to pay the bills as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Alholm to pay the bills.
Motion to support.
Is there support by Commissioner Lalonde? Any further questions or comments on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Cammy, pay the bills. There are no public hearings. Privilege comment. Undersheriff, would you like to take the floor, please?
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Here to present the April 25 statistics for the Sheriff's Office. As Adam's pulling up the slides and the graphs here, just want to talk about mainly the jail population. Just over the last 3 months, our amount of inmates has increased by 20 that we're housing. The amount in our jail went from 88 to 93. That's in our physical facility here. And we've also increased the amount of inmates that we've been boarding out to other counties from 15 to 30. So it's been a quite drastic climb. Just FYI, next slide please, Adam. That red line represents the capacity of our current jail, and as you'll see, we're well in excess. The blue is what we're housing currently in our jail, and we're well in excess of that. And those inmates we cannot ship to other counties because they are unsentenced inmates, and we don't have enough space because the other counties don't want to deal with unsentenced inmates. So that's the struggle that we're having there. So you see that increasing throughout the last 3 months and this month alone. So hopefully that bubble will burst soon. Those numbers will go down, but I'm not very optimistic for that. Moving on to the next, we have our law enforcement. These numbers have been pretty stable over the last 3 months. Last month we responded to 278 calls for service, 49 of those being some type of criminal related, with case reports being sent to the prosecutor. Moving on to the next, our special operations and 131 kind of technical rescue. As you can see, our crashes have increased, most likely because of the weather and people may be traveling a little faster. A significant increase, which I'll draw your attention to, is the distressed persons. This time of year, what we end up having is a lot of people that like to go in remote areas and see if they can get through with their vehicle. And what ends up happening is they get stuck in their vehicle in remote areas, and they don't have a mechanism of reaching help. So our search and rescue and rescue safety personnel have done a great job dealing with those 4 incidents. And we did have a ORV fail, which we did a press release on a side-by-side. Our next round of statistics, front office. Now I changed these up from previous statistics that I presented. I wanted more representative of kind of what our front office does. Obviously they're registering handguns, and but they're also entering warrants, and those numbers have been fairly stable, with 49 done last month. They're also entering protective orders. It may be a conditional bond or maybe a personal protection order. Did 29 of those last month. Sex offender verification is something our front office does as well. Verified 20 sex offenders, and those will vary based on when they have to verify. Each one has different rules on when they have to verify. And a significant stress on the office is background requests and people looking for information in our records to do backgrounds. So We completed 62 of those last month. So, I guess any questions or comments?
Yeah, really interesting to see that handgun go to 230, and it's almost double in March.
Right. We had a blip in March. We also had a really high blip in January, and I attributed that to Christmas. People were getting them as gifts, but I don't have.
That's a big number, big jump.
I can't speculate why that number went so high. I triple checked that number because it wasn't sitting right with me, but yeah.
So the jail numbers are high. This board has committed to raising the cap or taking the cap off and funding to keep bad operators incarcerated. And it doesn't come for free. There's a toll to that, and the finance director, I believe in the near future will be transferring a number sometime around 400,000. Is that accurate, Cammie?
Up to 440 was our estimate.
440 additional out of the taxpayers' general fund to make sure we house these individuals that are a public threat. So we take it serious, and it's a situation that we have to address. And thank you for your report, Under Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Informational items. Letter from supporting the Ishpeming City Fire Department for a funding request. Is there a motion to
Motion to accept?
accept as informational item? Motion on the floor by Commissioner Lalone.
Support.
Support by Vice Chair Nordin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, except for file. Action items. I believe, Under Sheriff, you're back up. Community correction bylaws request.
I would move to follow staff's recommendation and make the changes to these bylaws as requested.
Motion on the floor by Vice Chair Nordin. Is there support? Support by Commissioner Alholm. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I know you guys wanted to talk.
Bylaws changed, yeah. Fleet vehicle bid purchase request.
Hello, I'm Jerry Masana, the Health Officer from Marquette County Health Department.
Jerry, pleasure to see you. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So we tried to follow the recommendations from the Climate Action Plan to get 2 new vehicles, our 2 Chevy Cruises, and we did follow that. We got 4 bids, all local bids for hybrids, and the bottom line came out to, I think there's a memo in your package.
It was actually cheaper than I thought it would be, so.
Yeah, yeah. So 2 of them for $24,915, and those are Toyotas. So we would like approval to make that purchase.
Is there a motion on the floor to purchase?
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Alholm. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Vice Chair Nordin. Any further questions or comments for Jerry?
I will comment that I like hybrids, and I didn't know what they were before. I was always afraid of electric cars because, like, all right, you got to find some place to plug them in, right? So my wife bought a hybrid last year, so we've had them for about a year now. They're great. They really are. There's no plugging in or anything. There's another battery set there, and we get tremendous gas mileage. And the funny part about it is you get better gas mileage locally than you do on the highway. It's not with the braking and the battery running and everything else. So no, I think it's a good.
It's a good compromise.
To to get a vehicle that I think gets a lot better gas mileage, and I think it's better than going electric.
Plus, we don't have the infrastructure.
We don't.
In there, and some of these are taken on trips down to Lansing and stuff with the electric vehicles are impractical.
Right.
It didn't go unnoticed, 53 miles to the gallon per city and 46 miles to the gallon per highway.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah. Efficiencies. Well done, Jerry. Motion on the floor and support. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Sheriff's Department trailer purchase. Errol?
County Board of Commissioners, Chair. Errol Luke Reinen, Lieutenant with the Marquette County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Division. And here for...
I'd make a motion to follow staff's recommendation, especially Errol's recommendation, and purchase the trailer from Advantage Trailer, Carroll Stream in Illinois.
Motion by Vice Chair Nordine. Is there support to follow staff's recommendation? Support by Commissioner Elholm. Any further questions or comments?
I have a comment. I'm glad you pointed out that we had a local bidder, and you looked at the difference between that, and we do have a policy that we did a few years back, that if we have a local bidder that's within about 2%, we would give them that extra weight as being a taxpayer. In this case, it was more than an 11% difference, and I think that for a trailer, it's worth it to get it from another place that saves us 11%.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and I actually called the recommended bidder today just to make sure everything was in line, and double checked a few different things, and that everything was...
You did a good job finding different bids, and you found, there was a disparity of bids there, you know what I mean? So you found a pretty good deal, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, for a trailer that's 16 foot in length, it varied from about $10,000, so it's a lot for a
nice job.
Trailer.
I just want to point out, it is for the purchase of a enclosed 16-foot aluminum trailer. What do you typically use that for?
This was 100% funded under a DNR grant. So, but we utilize this for our rescue safety equipment, and it's a rescue sled and ORVs. So we keep them in there, and over the years we used to have open trailers, and we still do have an open trailer, and this will kind of be the replacement for this one. And the salt and dirt and everything else that gets on it, it's gonna protect and save the life of our equipment, rescue equipment.
Thank you for your work.
Yep.
So we have a motion, support on the floor. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Passenger boarding bridge construction administration. Dwayne, you have the floor, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, what I have before you is a request to approve a construction administration contract with our project moving forward with replacing the 2 boarding bridges at the airport. This is a federally funded project. The cost for the engineering or the construction administration side is $302,145. In conjunction with the total cost for the entire project of $5.1 million. This again is federally funded. Our local share of that particular construction admin is roughly $3,778. Requesting permission to approve, proceed into that contingent on our grant being awarded in October.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Elholm. Is there support?
Go ahead, support. I have a question or a comment.
Support by Commissioner motion by Commissioner Elholm, support by the Vice Chair Nordine. Go ahead.
It does drive me crazy that we have all these contracts, millions and millions of dollars every year that go to the engineering part. Yeah. That goes to Mead and Hunt only, and I've always tried to find someone. I like it better when we're doing millions of dollars that we have different vendors and we can make sure that it keeps everybody honest and in the game and make sure the right prices. When you only have one, it doesn't seem to work that way, or at least I don't have that same certainty. But we've tried everything. We tried to go to Myron, we tried to go to other vendors, and it seems like Mead and Hunt's the only people in the game. And it's, I don't know, maybe they're the best at it and they've got themselves a niche, but it does make me a little bit uncertain to have only one vendor for millions and millions of dollars of engineering.
If I just add one quick comment, I'll make it very quick. Mead and Hunt is one of our consulting. We have 2 consulting firms, Mead and Hunt and C&S companies. We go through every 5 years for a consultant selection with the FAA, and the FAA requires us to follow a handful of criteria to ensure that the contracts and the agreements are fair and balanced. If you look in the memo as well, we also go up for an independent fee estimate from competing consultants to verify that their bid rate or their cost rates are within reason. This one, Mead and Hunt is charging $302,000. Yes, it's a lot of money, but the independent fee estimate came in saying that project could have, in their opinion, could have been anywhere between $690,000 and $843,000. So we felt pretty good with this one. Most of them are really close, but we do watch that, and I understand there is a challenge with that.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question on funding, so that's gonna be paid by a federal grant that we haven't received yet?
We have not yet received this component of the grant. We submitted the final app and I put this in the memo, contingent on grant award. So we won't get the actual grant probably until middle of October. And once the grant is awarded, then we'll execute the agreement to proceed forward, because we did the bid, we got the cost for the bid for the bridges. We can't even move with the construction admin until we get the money to proceed with the project. So this is just to get it done so that we're not rushed at the last minute to get it completed.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they don't get the grant.
It's contingent upon award.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, contingent.
There's some
Yes.
uncertainty going with the federal government.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and support. Any further questions for Dwayne? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
Next.
GSA lease agreement, you're still up, Dwayne.
Yes, this is the GSA agreement, General Services Administration Agreement. This is to extend our current lease with GSA for TSA's offices in our terminal. They've been there since 2010. They just want to extend their lease out for a handful more years. We're asking for a 3-year extension. They've needed this to solidify the cost of their lease obligations for the airport. We made negotiations with them. We requested for this first year, November 1st, 2025 through October 31st, 2026. We would remain with the current rate, and then the next 2 years we would raise it up at 3%, consistent with those years. And
Move approval of the 3-year lease amendment and authorize the chair to sign. Same.
Motion by Vice Chair Nordine, is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamy, any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Get it done, Dwayne.
This is for a request for the board to consider approving a MDART grant. This is with Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. We applied for $100,000 to assist in funding our wastewater treatment plant with our aeration building. We have some significant repairs that need to be addressed. The project is a repair project is roughly between $450,000 and $600,000. We again requested $100,000 from the MDART folks. They awarded it to us, just asking for board approval to execute the agreements once they come in.
A question? So, if we accept this $100,000 from MDARD, then we're really committing to the $450,000 to $600,000.
That is correct.
So I feel like we better be clear on that. You know, I mean, I don't think we've ever acted on the $450,000 to $600,000, or have we?
Not on this, not yet.
That's right. So if we take a $100,000 grant, then we're really committing to the $600,000.
Unfortunately, with this, the building has been assessed and it needs to be repaired. Otherwise, we'd be looking at far higher cost to repair.
I don't even question that. I'm just saying it's kind of coming in the side door that way.
Yeah.
So I would like to see some more on what the $450,000 to $600,000 is.
In this project, it's going to repair masonry walls, replace the roof, and then do some plumbing improvements within the aeration building.
Where are you going to get the funding for the rest of it?
The rest of it is going to come out of our capital improvement line item that we've had budgeted over the handful of years, and we save so much money for investments like this, and we have the money. Granted, we could have proceeded with the project without this $100,000, but we felt it was a eligible project, and we applied for it, and we were fortunate enough to get it.
So I would make a motion that we approve this $100,000 grant through MDARD and authorize staff to proceed with these improvements, not to exceed $600,000 total.
Okay, motion on the floor by Vice Chair Nordine. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Alholm. Any further questions or comments?
But with
Yep.
your amendment to that money will come out of their capital improvement budget line item.
Right, because, and we can add that to it.
I would like
With the money to come out of the cap, go ahead.
May I add to this? So they budgeted $606,000 for this building repair.
You have budgeted that?
Yeah.
Well, now we only need 500 because we have 100 from MDARD, right?
$506,000.
Okay.
Don't say that out loud, it might get gobbled up.
So we put a cap on that, our motion, we put a cap on it, and yeah, it should come out of the capital improvement budget, yes. And we're good with that. There you go.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Dwayne?
Continuing with this, this is a request to approve an engineering proposal through our Northern Design Works group. We've worked with them in the past, their engineering firm. They had initially looked at the original engineering documents on the repair. They gave us an estimate to do the design work, the bidding documents, and then follow up with construction admin for the entire project. They had given us a proposal for $38,800. This would fall right in line with the capital improvement budget line item to complete the project.
Okay.
Move to accept.
Motion by Commissioner Alholm to accept the rec staff recommendation. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Lalonde. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Last one on the list here.
Dwayne, you had a
is-
full stack.
This is relating to PFAS. This is the chemical contaminant that has swept the nation relating to AFFF fire retarding chemicals that the airport uses. We have a continued flow of PFAS contamination that leaves our airport services center. I included in the memo, there is a graph showing the volume of PFAS that we measured. We do periodic sampling as required by the state. What we need to do is we need to capture that PFAS contamination before it gets to the wastewater treatment plant, because ultimately that impacts the wastewater treatment plant, which we dealt with some of the PFAS contamination in the past. What we're again looking at is this pilot study to evaluate a filtration system that would capture the PFAS. It'd be able to give us the resources and the knowledge on what we're going to need to move forward with a more permanent way to address this. This is required regardless of the cost relating to Eagle, because ultimately they're going to come back and they're going to put some pressure on us to get this corrected over the time. To date, the wastewater treatment plant has been very successful at keeping that at bay, but
So
the total cost for the project with Orin Technology, and they're a company that we worked with, they did a pilot project for us in the past with the wastewater treatment plant. This is another pilot project. The cost of their pilot would be $12,700. Just to couple that, we're going to utilize the water that's in our wastewater, or in our holding tank in the airport fire station. Last year when we had it pumped out, it cost us $8,300 to dispose of it through UP Environmental. This project would utilize those funds, we'd clean the water, and we would be able to service it through the wastewater treatment plant for $12,700, and we would still garner additional information on what we need to do to implement a more permanent filtration.
Where are we getting the money?
This would come both out of our PFAS expense and field expenses. With the airport, we could split the costs between the two line items.
Well, the minimal cost is $12,000.
Yeah, I'm just curious where it's coming from.
We have $38,000 remaining in the budget for those two lines.
Okay, thank you. Is there,
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So, first of all, how are they addressing the PFAS? What are they doing with it? So they're capturing it and doing what with it?
It's going to go through filter vessels.
Are they using carbon? Are they using reverse osmosis?
It's a carbon component. In fact, there's a gentleman here from Orin Technology. He could probably answer some of the questions more clearly. But what they do is they make a bio-grade carbon that will go in through filter vessels. We'll flow the water through the filter vessels, capture that, and we'll then dispose of those
filters,
filtered waste filters at the Marquette County landfill. Now
well, you're probably gonna have to encapsulate them for the landfill, right?
Yes, in the compounds that are used in the filters actually captures the PFAS and contains it. It will not
be released. And we'll do very similarly with what we did with our contaminated sludge when we had the sludge disposal process.
Well, I'm interested to see processes
Yeah.
because that's the thing about PFAS is it was kind of a newer thing to address a few years back, in the last 5 years. And technology needs to catch up to it and try to find different ways to address it. I mean, it's costing us a lot of money. I mean, the landfill is paying a lot of money. We paid a lot of money at Sawyer, and hopefully we come up with, and I've heard all kinds of ideas out there from everything from hemp to everything else, and hopefully we end up with something that works and that's something that's cost effective. That's all. And my second thought was, and I said there were two thoughts, my second thought was, if we go down this road with this one vendor, then are we locked into them going forward? If this is only a pilot thing, what if we have a big project now? Are we going to bid that out?
The likelihood is we would utilize or at least have the sizing with the filtration devices, and then we would probably be utilizing their product to address the filters down the road. It's either working with this company or a carbon filter company. Either way, we're going to ultimately end up having some type of filtration that'll capture it. We're just trying to get a good handle on this, not necessarily tied to them, but they'll have proof and concept with the devices we'll use.
So we're not telling them we're going to do anything other than $12,700.
That is the end of the agreement there.
So we have a motion and support on the floor. Another question?
What kind of success
No.
has Orem had in the past with this
We have a motion?
type of
Hang on.
filter system?
No, I thought we did, I was right.
I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation and enter into this pilot project.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
I'll support it. Second it, answer
When you-
my question.
Sorry, I just didn't think we'd done it, and we hadn't, so.
She just wants to know what kind of success you've had with the filtration.
Hi, my name is Ben Pachowski. I actually live in Arnold,
Okay.
so local. But Orem is actually a pretty well-known, well-established, well-experienced remediation company for PFAS-related things. We have, we employ biochar, carbon, bio for breakdown of PFAS. BAM is well documented for sites across many Eagle sites, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We're doing work at the Dane County Airport. So it's well tested.
So,
technology.
I have some questions.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
on the filter and that's going to be containing this PFAS, because right now at the landfill, when they get it down to sludge and then they contain it, it goes into our landfill still, but in contained. Like, is it taking up less space?
So
Is there any, and I have it's a couple questions. Is there any technology out there coming out that can break it down even more?
you can take the spent carbon to a landfill in Minnesota where they can basically, they run it through this additional treatment system, and it basically releases the sort of PFAS and destroys it. In the case of BAM, it has landfills require that it passes kind of like a total leaching protocol, and in this case, and with BAM, it's like been documented under 10 PPT. So with it going to the Marquette County landfill, it would not leach significantly at all. So it's a pretty safe product to use versus the current discharge at the Sawyer.
Yeah.
As we know right now, I'm sorry, I'm 54 years old and we've been talking about the environment for a long time. So I appreciate your efforts, but it's, as we know right now, like it'll be contained, but we didn't know about PFAS back then, so.
And there's a lot of new technologies coming out with microbes and fungus that do destroy PFAS.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to let the public know about.
And that was my other question to Dwayne, is there, if we have other options, just like what he mentioned?
With this, I think at this stage, the fact that we'll be treating the wastewater that exits the Airport Services Center, there's really no easy way other than running it through filtration to capture it before it enters the wastewater treatment plant. Granted, if there was mechanisms that would be able to break it down as you decompose it or treat it at the wastewater treatment plant, that would be an alternate option. But right now, the wastewater treatment plant, we equally dispose of our sludge at the landfill. This way, we're actually capturing it, we're condensing it, we're capturing it in a product that, by theory right now, still holds it, where if we let it go through our sludge, it's either gonna exit through our effluent discharges or go into the sludge, which will ultimately end up in the wastewater or in the landfill.
Great, thank you.
You should probably check with the landfill because they're pretty hypersensitive about PFAS these days.
Yes, we have a regular dialogue with the landfill.
And I gotta tell you, I can't go, I almost didn't say it, but I'm gonna say it. Through the landfill evolution, which went on for like 2 years, and Lynn was part of this, we heard from the last guy that ran the landfill said that GAC, which is granulated active carbon, was the way to capture PFAS. Then they got a new contractor and they said, no, that's not the right way to do it. Reverse osmosis is the way to do it. And now that's what they're doing. So we went down one road and then said, no, that's the wrong road. Let's go down this road. And now I hear you saying that it's granulated, I'm assuming it's granulated active carbon again.
In this case, it's not GAC, it's just it's a true
Yeah,
biochar material.
So it makes me a little bit uncertain about the whole thing. And I hope that, again, I hope that technology takes care of this eventually.
So we have a motion, and who is the support?
Karen was.
Karen. Okay. So I just have one question in my mind that in this presentation, not to get into the weeds too long, but maybe we can have a sidebar with this another day. But the destruction of PFAS that you speak to, is that a chemical process?
Yes, it is. It's also a bio process as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Talk more about that. Okay. We have motion and support on the floor. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Dwayne. Linda, you have the floor.
Tonight I'm asking the commissioners to consider Catherine Hansen for the jury board appointee. The one that I currently have on there right now is because decided not to continue to serve in the 6-year term, so I can't blame her because she's put 12 years into it. So,
Who's vacating?
Carol Kowski. Not the one that you think.
I'd move to follow staff's recommendation and appoint Catherine Hansen to the jury board.
Motion by Commissioner Nordine. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini. Any further questions or comments for Linda?
I noticed that Judge Weezy's not on this recommendation. What happened to him?
Actually, I only need the chief judge.
Oh, so you don't need.
Okay.
I just threw another
He's
judge
not.
at you.
He doesn't have a problem with it, though.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Civil Council, Mr. Newman, would you be kind enough to give us an update? And let's start with, we have 3 action items here. Let's start with Telkite. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. We've been working with Telkite on and off for many years, and we've got 2 different contracts with them. Through a series of review of those contracts, it's brought to my attention that Telkite is in material breach in many respects with the contracts, and I've outlined those in this memo. It's my recommendation that we terminate the Telkite contract, and if necessary, I want the authorization to bring a lawsuit for breach of contract.
So I would make the motion. I don't typically dive out of order, but I'm going to on this one. I would make the motion to give Civil Council carte blanche to get this thing resolved. Is there support?
Your motion is to begin termination of the contract and bring a lawsuit breach if necessary?
Yes.
Yes, I'll support that.
So there's a motion on the floor and support. Any further discussion with?
I have a question, Carl. So I was reading through all of it, and I agreed with all of it. Yep, that's for sure. And then I got down to number 4, which said, First Amendment to Marketing Agreement obligates Telkite to pay the county $1 million, and it appears they have not done this. They owe us $1 million?
No. So,
Okay.
not anymore.
Okay.
Through a series of, I don't know what to call them, waivers or something, that a prior administration of this board gave them, they got out of paying a significant portion of that. It's water under the bridge. I put it in there because I want this board to know that I don't think you got the value of the contract that you negotiated.
Well, if you want to shock me, put $1 million on it. That shocks me.
It was $1 million.
Got everybody's attention.
That was the contract dollar amount. What we actually got out of that, I would have to do some research to find out.
So Mr. Newman, and you have your marching orders once we say, any further questions or comments on this? Bear in mind, Carl needs to execute here. So any further questions or comments?
Well, I should point out one thing. So when you first made the motion and it said carte blanche,
Yeah.
and then I think Karen had an issue with
Yeah,
that.
well, okay.
She kind of clarified that, and I want to be sure that's what.
Well, you do realize.
Carte blanche makes it sound like maybe
Sure.
out and
Well,
Doge Dairy or something.
That's a layman's term, attorney. By the way, we have numerous attorneys. Commissioner Lalone and I are the only ones sitting here that don't have a law degree, so when I use that, maybe it was, I could rephrase and just change my motion if you'd like it to be a little cleaner.
I think Karen
I clarified.
clarified.
Yes,
And
yes,
so
I agreed with your
right.
clarification, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Should we do roll call, Linda, on this? I think so. I think so.
Well, I'm your teacher.
We haven't done one in a while.
I haven't done one. I'm all bored over here, so. Okay. Commissioner, well, I guess we can start with the chair of this one. Chairperson DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nordine?
Yes.
And Commissioner Alhoff?
Mr. Newman, you have the floor again in regards to the medical examiner.
This one's even more frustrating, for reasons that precede my involvement with this board. The board some time ago contracted with an entity called Michigan Institute of Forensic Science and Medicine down in Saginaw, Michigan, as our medical examiner. The medical examiner performs some statutorily obligated functions for us, and those include autopsies and the determination of cause and manner of death in certain circumstances. We've had significant difficulties with this entity, not the least of which is right now, as we speak, they've got 22 autopsy reports that I'm told they finished the services, they just won't release the reports for some reason. It's critical that we get those reports because that's what the county clerk needs to have in order then to process death certificates. And of course, death certificates are necessary to request life insurance proceeds and other kinds of benefits that the deceased family is absolutely entitled to. And we're hamstrung because the medical examiner that we've contracted with won't do their job. I'm recommending with this memo that, for the reasons stated in the memo, that we terminate that contract and, if necessary, bring suit in order to get the reports that not only have we paid for, we're told that they're have completed and they're sitting on.
Okay, so this issue has been problematic for a year and a half, and prior staff had this on the radar. We have a fiduciary, we have an obligation to the public and the taxpayers we serve to make sure these services are quality services, and when we have deaths and there's family pain for loved ones that are out there, and they're looking for a death certificate, and this isn't, there's not been good, clean response by this medical examiner. This board took action a month ago, and we terminated the relationship and hired Dickinson County and their medical examiner to take over. They've since taken over. It's been a seamless transition. But for whatever reason, this medical examiner out of Saginaw that we were contracted with has felt the need to not complete his job, and it's unacceptable. And I'd like to see civil counsel go after his license with Laura. We simply can't allow this to happen, and we can't take it laying down.
I make a motion, a two-part motion, and the first part would be to authorize civil counsel to send the termination notice to the Michigan Institute of Forensic Science and Medicine, PC.
I've done that already.
The 90-day notice?
Based on the last
Okay.
board's action on this?
Yes.
Okay, so you sent the 90-day notice and for cause, or did we do it in time for the 180-day notice? Did we do it in time?
I did it after I think your last board meeting.
Okay.
And I've been in verbal communication with Dr. Stockman, but still can't get him to release the things.
No, so now I'm going to make it a one-part motion, which is going to be to authorize civil counsel to pursue obtaining these outstanding ME reports and take legal action if necessary.
Support.
Motion on the floor by Vice Chair Nordine, support by Commissioner Alholm. Any further questions or comments on this one?
Can I ask Carl, is he giving any reason why he can't send it? Like,
No,
there's
that's
no
just
reason.
baffling. It's just baffling to me. Chairman DeRoche has also talked to him. I've talked to him. At one point, I'll say, it was a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, when I talked to him, I was complaining that we're not getting communication with his administrative staff on just minor matters. And he said, well, I fired so-and-so. And I said, well, here we are, and we're still not getting the response. He said, all the work is done. I said, then we just need the reports then. So our county clerk can do the next step to process these death certificates. And that's the last I've heard from him. Chairman DeRoche has been trying to reach him, I think, almost every single day.
And those can be sent electronically?
They are sent off.
Yeah.
You just push a button and...
So we...
Well, you don't just push a button.
Well,
I know.
We've
you
severed...
hit the send button on the computer and it should be coming. But they're not, and we need to, I need just your authorization to ramp it up and to take action. It's egregious.
It's one of the worst things that I've ever heard happen to Marquette County, and I feel bad because these 22 families are contacting Linda, or contacting us and saying, what is wrong with Marquette County?
Right.
And we're trying to get some resolution to this, and it's not acceptable, and obviously that's why we've entered into a new contract with Dickinson County, which has resolved the issue going forward, but my God, these families cannot move on. I mean, there's one out there from November of last year.
Just so the families know, I have been working on it for months as well.
So for whatever reason, whether this company thinks they're being cute with Marquette County, take his license. Maybe it'll get their attention. It's unacceptable. I was in Lansing 3 weeks ago, and they were on the front page of the news out of Saginaw with a large lawsuit that they didn't show up in court, and the judge issued bench warrants for their arrest to be picked up. So this is what we're dealing with, okay? These individuals outside of the service that hasn't been certainly adequate, this is the type of stuff we're dealing with, and they had to go. That's end of story.
I'd like to mention one thing, though, that we got to keep track of, is what caused this thing. So for 100 years, all of our autopsies and everything and medical examinations were done at our hospital here in Marquette. And then all of a sudden, right after COVID or during COVID in about 2020, the pathologists or whoever at Marquette General said they didn't want to do them anymore, and it forced us to go out and try to find a contractor. And granted, this contractor has been a problem, they're bad actors. But realize what caused this. And I don't understand why Marquette General Hospital is not.
Oh, before you get any further, hold up, before you get any further in the weeds, I received an email late yesterday about 5 o'clock that an agreement and a framework template has been discussed to reopen the morgue and lease for the new site.
Because we met with,
You and I haven't had a chance to talk about that yet. So, okay, any further questions or comments? So,
oh, because you don't want me to put that hammer?
yeah, I didn't want you to do that. Yes. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Chair Norton.
Yes.
Commissioner Elton.
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini.
Yes.
Commissioner LeBeau.
Yes.
Chairperson DeRosa.
Yes. Mr. Newman, you have one more.
So, in part of the contract reviews that I've been doing, we see that we have either a contract or a memorandum of understanding with a company called Northern Design Works for architect and engineering services. From all I can see, that they're doing a wonderful job. However, this agreement that we have with this entity contradicts our bid process. They have an open-ended agreement with the County of Marquette for all design and all architectural and engineering services without having to bid it out, even contracts over $10,000, which would, in my opinion, violates the county's bid policy. My recommendation is not that we terminate our relationship with Northern Design Works, but that we renegotiate contracts on an individual basis and bid them out when they exceed our bid policy. Right now, Northern Design gets all that work without having to bid for any of that work.
So is it your recommendation here to sever the current contract and renegotiate as we move forward?
Is to terminate the current, whatever it is. I'm not even sure I would call it necessarily a contract, but there's a written agreement with Northern Design that I think needs to be terminated. I think that they are going to be receptive to that because they'll still be in the bid pool for jobs. But this particular memorandum of understanding, I think should be terminated.
Okay, so,
No, I was just, Mr. Newman had mentioned in his memo to terminate it, and then in discussion, he said renegotiate it. But now you're saying terminate it.
I renegotiate on a per job basis. So, for example, if there's the next job that comes up, if it's over $10,000, it should go out for bid.
Right.
That's what I meant.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we have a written agreement with them, now memorandum of understanding. Is there conditions in that to terminate it, like 90-day notice or whatever?
There aren't, and the surprising thing is there's not even a termination provision. There's not even...
Or a date on
There's
it.
not even a termination date. It's an open-ended...
Contract.
It's an open-ended written agreement.
So a
did
notice to terminate would be sufficient for that
Well,
project,
absolutely,
without
just say,
your
yeah.
explanation.
Yep.
When did that contract begin, or written agreement?
Before my time, I couldn't tell you for sure, but it's there and needs to change.
We find things and we fix them, right?
Doing some house cleaning.
I just want to say, I don't have any hard feelings towards this design company. I hear about him everywhere. But we have rules that we have to follow.
Absolutely, this has no reflection on the quality of services that we're getting from this entity. No reflection on that whatsoever.
I agree.
Correct. Well, that's a well point made. Yep. So we have a motion.
Do we have a motion?
Do not.
No?
I'll make a motion.
We have our skis again.
Yes.
Karen made a motion. I'll support the motion. I'm never going to make my voting that eight, am I?
Commissioner Alholm and Vice Chair Nordine supports the motion to terminate the current agreement. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Elbow?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner LeBeau?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nordine?
Yes.
And Chairperson DeRosa.
Yes. Number 11, late addition, board compensation. Vice Chair, you have the floor.
So we put off establishing our wages or our salary, whatever, until we got done with the employees and the contracts, and we do need to address that. Every year in October, well, prior to November 1st, we set the salaries for the elected officials, but we haven't, we elected to wait on ours until later, and now I guess it is later now. And I would point out that we have not changed ours since, I think it's the mid-'70s, so it's been about 50 years since we've increased them at all. And it's not that we do this for money, and it's not a big lucrative thing, but I feel bad especially for the chair, who drives all the way from far western Marquette County into this building 3 times a week at least, and I think there should be at least something. So I do have a motion to increase our commissioner salaries to be $12,000 a year for commissioners, $14,000 a year for vice chair, and $18,000 a year for the chairperson, and make it retroactive to January 1st like all the other contracts that we get.
I'd like to point out the current salary, or compensation, I should say, for the commissioners, including vice chair and chair, is $8,000.
Well, no, the chair gets more, he gets 9.
Chair gets 9, just gets 1,000 more for chair.
They're correct.
Right. So there's my motion.
So motion on the floor by...
I'll support it.
Okay, motion on the floor by the vice chair, support by Commissioner Elholm. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Dana.
Did you do this research?
What's that?
You did this research?
I did not, the chair did. The chair gave me the research, so he did the research,
actually,
I looked at it.
Yep.
Right.
I believe Andrew, before she left, produced these charts from the counties, the 83 counties across Michigan. And then there was a comparable chart based on our population, and we pretty much mirror between 65 and 70,000 residents, and those statistics were put, and then we just took the average of those, right, of the comparables. That's what this was. Any further questions or comments?
We're not doing it for the money, and it's not a lot of money, and there's many townships in Marquette County that make more than we do, and are going to make more than we do, but it should be increased a little bit. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it too high, because then the chair might not want to be, too quickly about getting an administrator, so I had to make it not too much.
No.
It's been a long time since this has
I
been
think,
addressed.
I think it was 1973 was the last, 73 or 75, yeah.
But when I'm looking at the comparables, most of them are over what Commissioner Nordine has recommended.
Yes.
With the exception of a couple of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could have went higher. Right.
Yeah, it's actually 2,000 or so below the average, so he took the low road. Yes.
I did.
Yep.
The low road.
Any further questions or comments?
Well, like Macomb County, I think it's Macomb, their commissioners have staffers.
Have what?
They have staff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure.
Like they actually have staff.
I know. And a lot of them get mileage and things like that, or get so much per meeting, and there's all kinds of different schemes that they have, but I didn't want to get into any of that.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Oh, was that to be effective from the beginning of the
Motion.
year? I didn't make that as part of my motion. Or does that have to amend my motion?
I made the motion, didn't I?
Oh, you made.
You made the motion.
Supported it.
Yeah.
But you didn't say the date.
I did, I said.
Yeah, he read it in. He did read it in, yes.
Oh. I did, you supported it.
Yeah.
Do you support it?
I do.
Okay.
All right.
Public comment.
Before
There's.
public comment starts, I'm gonna excuse myself to run an election here. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be floated
Yep.
out.
I can't
Okay.
vote for Marquette, hey?
Linda? Yeah, thank you. So is there anything we,
That's coming in.
oh, wonderful.
I missed my election now.
So, what, there are,
I was trying to get Bill to toss me the tissues.
Oh, tissues, gotcha.
I don't see any, yeah. So the public comment, at the end of the meeting here is a 3-minute public comment. So please, public comment.
Hi.
Please,
Commissioners.
yep, please state your name.
My name is Cassidy Berlin, 1945 Granite Street. I'm a member of the leadership team that advocates on behalf of the county's non-represented staff. I addressed you at the last meeting. I am a county staff member. I'm joined up here by Bill Matson, who is also on the non-represented staff leadership team. First, I want to thank you for your work to secure that 4.33% wage schedule increase for the county's non-reps. As you know, our group does typically adhere to the same compensation benefits that are extended to the courthouse AFSCME employees. As we enter times of unprecedented economic pressure, non-reps are still waiting to hear whether or not we are going to be receiving the $500 retention bonuses that are being awarded to other county staff, and whether those are going to be awarded to us. Unrepresented staff continue to reach out to the non-rep leadership team to ask whether or not we are expected to receive this benefit. Commissioners, I do want to be frank, it's not my wish to put you on the spot like this. Raising personnel issues that involve county staff during public comment makes me uncomfortable, feels wildly inappropriate. I don't want this to be a public conversation, but as our undersheriff pointed out at the last board meeting, staff currently do not have a mechanism to put pressing questions and concerns on county leadership's radar. Typically, we'd be able to go to the county administrator. I just want to put that out there. I'm going to close and ask you to please provide some clarity to our non-reps as soon as possible, whether it is the commission's intention to award our non-represented staff with that same retention bonus that has been awarded to our courthouse AFSCME peers. I work with a phenomenal team of non-reps in my department, and I'm proud to serve on the non-rep leadership team. I would ask that the board or personnel committee dignify our commitment and our continued retention with the same compensation benefits that have been awarded to our courthouse AFSCME peers. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment.
Under Sheriff Lowell Larson of the Yanni Township, just to kind of piggyback on those comments. I just wanted to state, like I said at the previous meeting, I thought it was awkward that there was no mechanism. I just want to add to that awkwardness. Since the 2 weeks ago when I addressed the commission, my wage was fixed, and I received no communication regarding that. However, it wasn't done completely as I had requested, because as of now, with the hours that I lose every 2 weeks, I'm still being compensated at $2 an hour less than a jail captain, or the captain in our structure. So the 4 hours I lose every 2 weeks, which every other union employee in the sheriff's office is able to use that via vacation. As I stated before, I don't call in sick unless I'm sick. I've worked here for way too long, so my banks have been too high. I really don't have a choice other than to fake an illness, which I'm not going to do. But once again, as Cassie said, there's still more information that needs to be addressed. I'm requesting to address the time off, but we need a mechanism and direction to how can we bring those forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment, Mr. Larson. Public comment. Any further public comment? Public comment.
My name is Patricia Slaughterback, 425 East Crescent Street. I just want to say I had no idea really all of what you guys do, and I appreciate what I've learned tonight, so thank you.
Thank you. Public comment? Any further public comment? Any digital comment? One more time, public comment. Hearing none, we will close the public comment period. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Adamini, would you like to start?
I spoke up at the last meeting with Mark that I think our undersheriff is not getting the pay he deserves, and that's just my personal thing, and I don't know what the other members of the, I watched him, during my whole time here, and I just think he's an absolutely wonderful person, kind, and I would hope we could get him. And he's got, what have you got, four kids? Huh?
Three.
Three?
Well, I have more than him.
Yeah, but you're a lawyer. Oh, that's all.
Commissioner Lalone.
I really appreciated everyone coming out tonight. I wish Al's mom had stayed, because I believe I was an aide for her child when he was in school a long time ago. But what she spoke on, it's not our area, but it is. I can tell you I have been calling our state and federal reps regarding the possible Medicaid cuts and how that'll affect us. And it hits home for me too, because I have a son with extra and that is also on state health insurance and going to be 26, and we're trying to navigate that. But I was also at our UP, and I'm going to say the name wrong, but I'm on the Pathways board. I'm their liaison, and I was invited to their UP Health Legislative Summit to talk about the possible cuts that can happen. And this is a nonpartisan issue that it could affect all of us. And just so we're listening as a board. Also with Rich Halgren making comments regarding the 2 House bills being heard on this week, we have your back. Like, we are looking at that. And we are for green energy here too, but we're also not about cutting things off that will hurt our community and put our people out of work. We're all looking for efficient ways to take care of our community and make it long lasting. And, we're listening. I'm just letting everyone know we're here, and I appreciated people coming. But on a county level, I was listening to Cassidy here and Bill, but you're the non-represented employees, and I'm still trying to grasp with this because we have union employees and non-represented, but it sounds like you have like a union going, but you're not in a union because you have leadership coming and talking and negotiating.
I have the same problem.
I have a labor background, so I'm trying to, I understand where you're coming from because you're trying to negotiate as non-represented, but you're also asking for the same thing that the unions have negotiated for. So, I need some time to get my head around it. I'm probably going to reach out with questions. And I know we don't have a county administrator right now, but it's been said at this board publicly, that you can come to our board. You can talk to HR and our directors and report to our chair and vice chair in the meantime as we continue our search. And there's many counties throughout the UP that don't have an administrator, and they are functioning. I'm all for an administrator and getting one hired. It's going to take time to get an effective, good administrator. So it's not going to be smooth sailing right away, but we have great directors. We have a great board. We're always here listening. Okay.
Commissioner Aho.
I want to thank and recognize the individuals who came tonight to speak about their concerns about how this country is being run right now. This is a nation supposedly by the rule of law, and I'm uncertain that is. I'm sure that's not happening right now. We've got the Constitution violated, due process violated. ignoring court orders, and it's all illegal. I would like the board to consider developing a resolution to be sent to our federal representatives and the president, and a copy to the counties, at least in the UP, addressing the need, the importance of following the rule of law and opposing what we see today is clearly, in my opinion, at least illegal. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts.
I also applaud everyone that came here tonight to speak on these issues. And it's easy for us to say that they're federal issues and we're just little Marquette County and it doesn't matter to us, but it does matter to us. And I think that everyone needs to stand up and be heard. And you guys are doing I was wondering what everybody was here for, and I was happy to see why most of you were here. And I think it's a great thing, and I'm as bad as anyone because I need to speak up and be heard too, and we all need to speak up and be heard because, we swore oaths when we took this office to uphold the Constitution, and I really like the Constitution. I'm a big supporter of the Constitution. And I'll tell you right now that under that Constitution, everybody is entitled to due process, everybody. And it's very important, and that Constitution is an important document, and I think that there's a possibility that it could be whittled away, and I'd hate to see that happen, or destroyed completely. I'd hate to see that happen. So I applaud everyone. Secondly, I have three things here. So secondly, I already not going to make my vote and win. So secondly, the young man from Stratford out at Sawyer, the streets out at Sawyer, you have to speak to Forsyth Township or West Branch. 90% of them are Forsyth, so you need to talk to them about the streets. It's not a county issue. The township starts the conversation of our secondary county roads. So you need to talk to them. There is a board out there. So the governor many years ago created this thing called the Sawyer Operations Authority. So out at Sawyer, you'd be able to have the Sawyer residents would be able to connect with their government units without having to go all the way to West Branch or go out to Scandia or go to Gwinn. And what that board consists of a representative from West Branch Township, a representative from Forsyth Township, the county commissioner for the district, which is me, and then someone from the business sector and somebody that is just a resident of Sawyer. So there's 5 people on that board. Unfortunately, very few people come to the meetings. So I really encourage you to go there and speak about the roads, and then go to Forsyth Township. The Sawyer Operations Authority meets quarterly. The next meeting will be the second Thursday in July at 7 p.m. All right, and they meet there's a little building next to the 906 Community Church. It used to be the what do they call it? What do you call it? Center out there that we used to have. But it's a little building next to that. So by the shopette, right next to the shopette in that area. So yeah, I encourage you to go to that. The last thing is, I'm too confused about whether they're represented or not represented. Maybe you guys need to go be represented, the non-reps, but it's kind of counterintuitive to say, hey, we got non-reps that somebody's representing here too. But so that's a problem. But I'll tell you right now, though, besides that, putting that aside, I think, and I don't want to speak for the board, but I believe that we intended to give the non-reps exactly the same thing or something very similar to what we gave the membership of the unions. Nothing more, nothing less. We really wanted, and talked about this and struggled to try to keep everybody the same. Everybody, I shouldn't say the same, everybody being, increased a similar amount. So we wanted everybody to be on an equal playing field. We don't value the union membership more than the non-reps, and we don't value the non-reps more than the union membership. We value everybody. We think we have great employees, and we do want to compensate them as much as we can. Obviously, we have limits, but we certainly intended to do that, so we'll look into that. That's all I have.
Okay. Counselor?
No comments.
CFO?
No comments today.
Clerk?
Come on, Corey, something. Nothing?
Okay, well, I'll take a little bite here at the apple. Okay, so couple of things I want to make comment, especially with Mr. Helgren in the audience. The Marquette County Board opposed the energy bills back in the day when this first piece of legislation came in, and I'm forgetting the number, but MAC, Michigan Association of Counties, and the MTA vehemently opposed taking local control from townships And they also, we were supportive here in Marquette County at some level of carve-out for the rice generators that are in Negaunee Township. Currently, our lobbyist in this Marquette County Board has gone on the record in the past, and it's the same issue today, have filed and supported a card supporting in committee the efforts to carve out the rice generators and change the dynamic so we can have the cost of energy be stabilized and potentially reduced and reliable for the future so we can have manufacturing. And if we don't have cost-effective or cost-efficient and reliable energy, we are not going to get any manufacturing in the future here, because no company is going to come and locate in Marquette County or any other county in the Upper Peninsula for that matter if the cost of energy is too high. We have companies out at Sawyer now that manufacture aluminum products, and the cost of energy is a big deal for these companies, and it's certainly a significant portion of what Cleveland Cliffs has to endure on a daily basis out there. So we hear you. We've been fully on the side of efficient, cost-effective, reliable energy, and we all support economic growth with safe ecological practices, and we moved the needle from a coal-fired plant, right? So we took a big leap, and I think we all know that if we don't have quality jobs in the area and manufacturing, it'll be a very changed environment here in Marquette County. And we talk about, I want to shift we listen to a whole group of people talk about cuts today. Those cuts are real cuts. There's no question they're real cuts, right? In fact, our Veteran Affairs organization has been just seeing real cuts along with all the rest of the individuals that came up here today and spoke. What really galls me is when we make an agreement and there's revenue sent out and the third quarter comes in and they say, and the third quarter is completed, the wages have been paid, we're moving into the fourth quarter, and they say, oh, by the way, those wages aren't going to be covered in the third quarter, we're taking them back, and we're not covering the fourth quarter. Well, the service is already provided. When we start, all these services are important, whether it's the nice lady who explained about her child who had autism, or the veteran who needs these services, right? They're all very important, but we are faced with a basket of cuts, and there's no direct funding to manage that, so it's going to be a difficult time. We're in rocky waters, and I guess we just got to wade through them as best as we can. As far as the employment piece, I get that we're in a transition period without an administrator. We're going to work through those speed bumps. I personally I will say we're going to do a better job making sure there's clarity for all the department heads and staff as we move forward. Stay tuned. I'll get an email out, and we're going to, both myself and the vice chair will have meetings with department heads and address any of the issues that they may see. There's a lot of high caliber people that we work with here that hard-working, smart people that don't directly need to be told how to do their job. But if we need to sit down and have clarity on some direction, we're more than happy to do that and look forward to that smooth transition as we move forward. Publicly, I'll say we were not able to, because I don't think we ever really addressed it. We went into a closed session. We weren't able to have a contractual agreement with the last individual we tried to get an agreement with from the administrator's position. So stay tuned on that. The board, in our next meeting, will address, I'll put it on the agenda, we'll potentially open up to looking at internal candidates that may be currently working in our, because we have a bunch of good, hardworking, smart people to look at internally, and potentially what we may do externally as well at the next board meeting. So I appreciate all your efforts and concerns. We will be addressing those in the weeks to come, so thank you. Anybody, we're all good? Next thing coming forward is meeting adjourned.
Corey back. I think this is yours.